What's up guys, this is Applecore666. So something I'm going to be talking about a lot on this channel is music, specifically rock and metal. Those of you that know me quite well know I'm a huge rock and metal fan, and I don't know if you can see that, I'm wearing my Slayer t-shirt today. This music has been a huge part of my life for quite a long time now. And today I'm going to be talking about black metal. Out of all the rock genres I've gotten into over the years, none has fascinated me more than black metal as far as the history, fan base, and ideology of the genre is concerned. So that's mainly what I'm going to be talking about in this video, the ideology and the fan bases of black metal, although I will also give a bit of a mention to the music itself as well as the subgenres that have sprung out from this genre. As this is my channel, and it's a channel where I'm also going to be doing rants and stuff like that, I will be applying my own personal opinions into this as well. So if you happen to be one of those people that just gets easily butthurt over someone's opinion, like, oh my god, I can't believe he said that, how could he? Well, you've been warned. You know what to expect. So, on with the video. First of all, black metal started in the 80s and is now considered to be part of what is known as extreme metal. Extreme metal is basically just an umbrella term used to describe the harsher sounding genres of death metal, black metal, and grindcore. Some would also argue that thrash metal and doom metal fall under this category as well, although I personally consider those two genres to be more like gateway genres to black metal, not quite extreme enough. And the band that started black metal is Venom, who have what can be described as a thrash metal, speed metal sound, and some would also argue that they're part of the new wave of British heavy metal, which included bands like Iron Maiden, Saxon, and they did start around that time, so I guess that's true. They coined the term black metal by themselves, for themselves, to refer to their own style, which, by their definition, is basically just metal with evil, dark lyrics, which are just really tongue-in-cheek. They have even dismissed many of the later Scandinavian and Norwegian black metal bands as being basically like a cheap imitation who tend to rely more on criminal acts to make a statement rather than their music, which in some cases is true, because some of these bands actually have done some criminal acts and whatnot. They actually, in one interview, the singer said something along the lines of, whatever those bands are, they're not black metal. Call them Satanic metal or Nordic metal, they're not black metal. We are black metal. Venom is black metal. Black metal is the music of Venom. Other early black metal bands before the Norwegian black metal scene started include King Diamond, also Bathory, who are credited with being the first Viking metal band. Viking metal being originally a subgenre of black metal that is based on Viking and Norse mythology, and originally started as a way to escape the whole satanic and occult theming that black metal seemed to have got itself tied into. This is a genre I'm going to talk more about in another video, but I will say that in recent times the genre has basically evolved to mean a band of whatever subgenre of metal that uses Viking themings. Other early bands of the first wave of black metal include Hellhammer, who evolved later into the more famous band Celtic Frost, and also Sarcophago, who, along with Sepultura, are responsible for kickstarting metal in South America and Brazil. Sarcophago are also, I think I pronounced their name right, are also responsible for inspiring the Blackened death metal genre. Blackened death metal, as the name implies, is basically a fusion of black metal and death metal. And then pretty much after that first batch of bands came the Norwegian black metal scene, which was also responsible for creating what is now known as the black metal sound. And that was directly influenced by thrash and death metal. And now, onto the fan bases. one of the groups of fans involved in black metal are what are known as the true inner circle elitists, or as I like to call them, true inner circle retards. These fans hold the belief that to be a black metal fan or to be a black metal musician, you have to be theistically satanic. Both your lyrics and your members have to be theistically satanic, otherwise it doesn't count. For those of you that don't know, there are two branches of Satanism. On one hand, you've got theistic Satanism, and then you've got Levant Satanism. How they differ is that theistic Satanism is literally the worship of the devil, whereas Levant Satanism is basically an ideology whereby one follows oneself and creates their own path. And basically, these fans and bands believe that unless a band or fan is theistically satanic, they don't count as black metal at all. So by that token, a band could be Levant Satanists, or even theatrically satanic, but they still won't count. They'll just be considered an extreme metal band with that sound. Some of these elitists believe that the sound is equally important, and if you don't have the sound, but you have the theming, then you're just a theistic satanic band of whatever subgenre. And many of these fans have taken their beliefs to the extreme in the form of criminal acts such as defiling graveyards, burning down churches. Some of them even committed murder. Yep. And this is an ideology that to this day is quite rare, but it still exists in some circles. In fact, one band that is still notable for having this ideology is the Swedish band Marduk. Then you got the other group of black metal fans who are essentially the same as the first group, only a little bit more open-minded, in the way that they include Levant Satanism. So as long as you are a Satanist of whatever branch, then basically you count as black metal. So not that much different, but a little bit different. And then you've got the belief that black metal musicians and fans don't necessarily have to be satanic at all, as long as their lyrics are at least theatrically satanic. This is based on the fact that Venom were never really Satanists. They just wrote about Satanism and whatnot for shock value, basically. And these group of fans tend to believe that if a band has, theatrically satanic lyrics, but they don't have the sound, then, well, here's the thing, there's a divide, really. Some of these fans believe that the sound is just as important, so if you're theatrically satanic at the very least, but you don't have the sound, you're just a theatrically satanic band. If you have the sound as well, then you're black metal, and if you have the sound, but you're not even theatrically satanic, you're not black metal. And then there are the more open-minded within that group who believe that basically it's not limited to the sound, and if you're a theatrically satanic band, then like the first wave of bands, you are by definition a black metal band. And then you have what is known as the second most reasonable belief. Well, actually, I say what is known as what I consider to be the second, more like what I consider to be the second most reasonable belief amongst black metal fans, and that's the belief that black metal doesn't even have to be satanic, as long as it's at least dark, which most of the bands that bear this sound will tend to be anyway. These fans believe that it's more about the sound more than anything else. Only very few of these fans will believe that if a band has the sound but aren't dark, then they're just an extreme metal band with positive lyrics. And again, the minority will believe that if they are dark but they don't have the sound, then they are just a darkly themed metal band of whatever subgenre. And then, finally, you have the most modern and most reasonable belief, in my opinion, which is the belief that I go by as a fan of this genre of music. The belief that black metal is now, first and foremost, a sound and can be lyrically about anything and everything, the way I think real metalheads should think. And basically, it is thanks to this ideology that we have subgenres of black metal, like, for example, Christian black metal, which is also known as unblack metal, and white metal, which is essentially black metal sounding bands who have Christian themings or Christian members. A genre or subgenre that has sparked major controversy and even outrage amongst the true inner circle crowd for being basically the complete antithesis of what black metal is supposed to be. Other modern, newer, recent subgenres of this genre include experimental black metal. For example, the Norwegian band Shining, who incorporate jazz into their sound. Depressive, suicidal black metal, which include the Swedish, as opposed to the Norwegian band Shining. There are two bands called Shining, one of them Swedish, one of them Norwegian. The one that's Swedish is the one that falls under the category of suicidal black metal, which is basically black metal with depressive undertones and lyrics about depression and suicide. Also, folk black metal, like Moon Sorrow, for example, fusion of folk and black metal. Another major band in that genre is Fintroll. Also, you have post-black metal, which is atmospheric black metal, bands who are more spacey and melodic. Two very big bands in this genre include Death Heaven and Wolves of the Throne Room. I recently listened to Death Heaven's latest album, and it's easily one of the best black metal albums I've ever heard. If you're a fan of black metal and melodic metal, I strongly recommend checking that out. And I think this genre is going to continue to evolve as well, which is interesting, because a genre of music should be allowed to evolve. Not necessarily sell out, but nonetheless evolve. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. I hope you all enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos. Keep it metal.